yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys, always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys, fight for the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys, stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys, it will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader,
Sure.
the 45 long slide
Yep.
with laser sighting,
You betcha.
the Uzi 9mm,
Yes, sir.
phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay. They'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun, permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm, and keep our country deep in debt. Put men of God in jail. Harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Hornkey. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and UltraNet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in the lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states, territories, and the clock. It is Thursday already? Yes, it is. It's Thursday. It is the 24th of September. It is the 12th year of Open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist Occupation of America with a K. 2020. Old Earth calendar, 2020. Year of conflict, year of betrayal. And, of course, the Dance of Swords, Battle for the Republic. Anyway, it is a pretty day today, a beautiful Thursday, as a matter of fact. And as it stands, not a whole lot jumping out. Of course, we're in that in-between where they're trying to decide which direction to go with whatever prank, lie, fanatic response, et cetera, et cetera. Not even response, reaction. Response would be intelligent. There's no intelligence with, for instance, the mask wearers, okay? That's something today I've noticed. It's like, let me point something out, okay? Whenever you mention the masks, everybody opens their face and tells you, well, doctors wear them. Yeah, do doctors wear black masks at the hospital? I want you to think about some of the things going on here. First of all, yeah, they wear a mask, and the moment they're done with it, you know what happens to it? It goes in the trash. Yeah, they wear a mask. If they wear a cloth mask, sometimes even those go in the trash. They actually consider those perishable throwaways. They make cheapy ones now that are cloth. But otherwise, they go into the hazmat clothing bin to go to the laundry so they can be washed after one use. One wear. Not take it off, put it on, 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 take it on, wipe your arse, use it to wipe your nose. Wait a minute, hold on, stuff in your pocket with a bubble gum. Yeah, take it back out, just with the keys, too. You ever think about where your keys have been? Stuff that thing in there with the keys. Put it back on. Oh, it's getting a little greasy on the outside. So you don't see that with the hospitals, do you? Here's one. Yeah, I know it's only a 98-cent item, but it's a throwaway. But, I'll bet you I could save this mask. Doctor, it's got blood all over it. Oh, no, I could use this mask for the next surgery. It's kind of like the Civil War. You got a 50-50 chance of getting caught with something there. Come on. Okay, let's use it again. I mean, come on, we're going to save money. Yeah, but the patient might die. Yeah, but we're going to save money for the hospital. Have you ever heard that anywhere? You see how stupid some of this stuff is when you look at it? It's like, okay, let me look at this sideways here. Nope, that doesn't look right. Let me turn my head and go the other way. Nope, doesn't look right there either. Something is wrong with somebody's head. See how nincompoops. Ja, vertut unverboten, yeah. So anyway, the other consideration, like splashes of blood. Can you picture that, okay, with the doctor? He's got spray of blood. He had a little arterial spray and, kind of went across his vest, his scrub suit, too. So I will just leave it go. Come on, the patient's not seeing anyway. He's knocked out. No one's going to notice. Doctor, they record this. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It would be embarrassing if I had this big blood smear, and of course, the guy is actually having orthoscopic surgery and nothing like that should show up. Yeah, that's true, okay? Now, here's the thing. When you do see medical scrubs, typically in surgeries, they're designed so you can identify detritus, debris, blood smear, all that. They really do. There's a reason they use lighter colors, so it's like, that looks pretty bad. I think we should actually back you out of here and maybe put you in another set of scrubs. Maybe we should change out your whole outfit right now. Let's back out for a minute. Let's stabilize. We're good? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we got some problems here. You're kind of soaked. Now, if you'll notice, they go with, even the throwaway ones. What color are they? They're kind of a really pale blue or green, right? Kind of a greenish aqua, right? And they're throwaway. But they're a light color, so you can see that, they're looking kind of bad. In fact, it allows you to confirm that it's relatively clean, right? With the cloth masks, it's the same way. They use white. They use maybe a very light pale green that might match the scrubs, very, very light. Typically, again, all your hairnets, all of your gloves, and all of your face masks are colors that identify cleanliness. So what is out here in the world? Everybody's become a Muslim. Everybody's got to have these black. Granted, there are some colored ones. The one that's going to cover the snot rag condition better than most is the camouflage ones. That's really kind of cool. Yeah, I can't tell where the snot stops and the boogers stop and the camouflage starts. That's a good idea, sir. Yeah, that bacteria petri dish you're wearing is a fantastic solution, okay? But everybody's wearing black so they can cover their dirtiness. Have you thought about that? It's like, yeah, it's really couth. Oh, and you do look very Muslim now. All of the slaves of the Muslim state, or the Jewish state for that matter, have to wear a dog muzzle. And so the Jewish-run / Jewish Muslim-run police state, they got you wearing a black dog muzzle. Oh, I'm sorry, a fashionable black dog muzzle. Oh, conceals all the filth and grime and dirt because, it'll take longer for you to figure out that when here's the test, when you take that thing and you go into the bathroom and you fill the sink up with water, because you're going to hand wash it if you're smart, right, first, and you're going to put it in that water, and the water's going to turn the color of it's not because the dye is releasing. It's because there's that much crud and excrement and debris from your face in that snot rag that it's going to really change the water color. It's like taking a foam filter out of a vacuum. Have you ever taken, you got the one that's the fine, it's not a HEP, but it's the next best thing. for, most of your fine dust and filament. Usually it's about a 3x4 or a 5x5 area, and it pulls out in a little tray. And when you pull it out, if it's really bad, it's like caked with junk. That's what these face masks are all about now. That's what they're doing. That's what they are. They're just mobile, crud, dirt, petri dishes. But it gets better. All the other crud, dirt, scud, basically petri dish wearers, the face diaper, it's one step away from having your head stuck in the toilet all day. Well, they're beating up people like in Ohio. If you haven't seen it, you got the one woman who was in the bleachers, out in the stands, and the communists are, of course, they had cops there, and they got some other thug there, some other punk twit who's, of course, flapping her yap about it, that this woman didn't have her face diaper on. And it's like, every time I look at this, I'd walk up and I'd shoot all three of the bastards that were messing with it. The woman, the pig wannabe / the, coach, I don't care what he was, and the cop. I'd just be pop, pop, pop. I'm that disgusted with these people, and I'm serious. Be like, nowadays I could wear the face mask, wear the hat, wear the gloves, wear everything, walk up, pull the pistol, go bomb, 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 and all of them be dead. And the woman she'd be shocked because she'd be covered in, blood. But be like, save the woman, get rid of the Twilight Zone police state wannabe East Germans. That's really my attitude on this now. It's like, and anybody else, what everybody else, it would be the parrot mouthy ones going, where's your mask? Where's your mask? It's like, boom, boom, boom. I'd be like, now, anybody else you want to open their face about a mask? In fact, here's an idea. Why don't all you take your masks off? Well, you can't do that. Why not? It's going to be a lot of fun. How do you like that one? How's this woman in the bleachers by herself a threat? This is communism in its extreme, and why we promised we weren't going to let this garbage happen by a bunch of shoe-size IQ, pea-brain asshats, and a bunch of police state thug wannabes. And they really all need to have their ass beat down. They really do. Why? Because they're wearing those. The big thing now is to wear the really cool black face muzzle. You'll notice each one of these ass hats, when they're grabbing that woman, are all wearing the black ass hat face muzzle, the black one. Pay attention, people. Take a look at these jackasses. And again, it's why they need to have their ass beat. And the rest of these turds, piss on them. Yeah, I'm just watching it again while it's going on. But that's why I brought this up. They're black. Why? And more, it's like, well, this is the new norm. You're not normal. You're an abnormal idiot. In fact, you're a neurotic hypochondriac with paranoid tendencies towards, with police state wannabe mindset. I got to enforce what? Well, we got to wear a face diaper. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? If I were, you really wouldn't want me to enforce something like that. I'd have your puss in a gas mask. Not because it necessarily would do any better, but if you really want to get in your face about this garbage and tell me all about critical it is, then I don't see anything you're wearing that makes any sense whatsoever for your fear. For the level of fear that they are promoting, it's like, you people are all fools. You're dumb as a box of rocks. You are an idiot too. You're all bug-eyed and paranoid. Where's your face mask? Where's your gas mask? Where's your personal protective equipment? I mean a full face mask. In fact, we should make it mandatory. If you are that hyper-paranoid and that much of an idiot, it should be mandatory that you have to go out and buy a $350 full-face, oval, brand-new PPE mask with deep filters, which will cost another $200, okay? And you need to be in a bubble. Because you're obviously where the threat is. We don't really care. I don't care. But if you're that much of a sociopath / paranoid, then you need to be properly rewarded by wearing. But we don't give it to you. Government doesn't give it to you. We need to pass a law that if you believe that you need to wear that, you need to spend $700 on a gas mask, on a personal protective mask, a PPE, personal protective equipment mask. Seriously, you want to settle this real quick? Make it mandatory. All these asshats. Well, I got this dirty snot rag, and I'm special because I got the throwaway one. I can use it 100 times. No, you got to buy a $700 piece of equipment or you're not supposed to be out in the street anymore. I mean, if you believe in the masks. Now, if you don't believe in the masks, you don't need anything. How's that sound? Well, no, everybody has to be punished. No, we don't. But I don't have a problem with your little paranoid hind end arse, your hypochondriac condition, bleeding over into the rest of your life. Just, well, let's make sure that we're protected from you and you're protected from us. And the way to do that is force you, not me. Anybody who is of this new, well, this is the new norm religion, you're not doing enough. Now, I can do whatever. No, this isn't mandatory for us. This is only for those who believe in the mask. If they believe in the dog muzzle, I don't have a problem, but we need to make it proper punishment for doing so. That's how it should work. The rest of us, I'll smile and wave as you go by. Oh, I have all that equipment. I've got far better than you have. But you know what? You need to spend top dollar on the latest and the newest. And that way, when we find your corpse or make you a corpse later on because I'm tired of your Fruit Loop attitude, at least get a good piece of chemical warfare equipment, defense equipment out of the deal. Oh, you thought I was going to let these characters run our lives? Oh, hell no.
Hey,
I'm pretty well finished with that garbage. Go ahead, caller, jump in there. Go ahead.
This is Mike from Ohio. I don't know if you've noticed that it's really starting to concern me. I've noticed a real bifurcation in at least people that call themselves the Patriot community, where there's those of us like you and I'm sure the audience here that aren't buying into the Hegelian dialectic, and then there are those that are saying that we have to fall in line and support the cops because the communists are against them. And I've even had I've gotten heated arguments with people where it ended with them more or less threatening to kill me if I don't fall in line and support Trump and the police. And it's like they're just blind and I mean, God forbid, now what are we going to end up with, a three-way war where we're fighting other so-called elements of the...
That's what I've been saying. Here's how it works. The sane are over here with us. The insane are these two that are just nothing more than frothing at the mouth, crazy town, two sides of the same coin. This is what we've been saying forever. You are in that situation. Seriously, think about it. How is it the dumbasses can't figure out what you're saying? It's like, okay, don't you see what's going on here? These same cops had, if this were 4 years ago, all these same cops loved who was in power. When Bummer was in power, they were talking about how they were going to go door to door to get the guns. And those cops weren't saying they weren't going to do it. In fact, they were thinking about all the property they were going to steal and the stuff they were going to grab, and even now they're thinking that way. Now, what they're pissed at is that you have this subculture thing going on, which is, again, schizophrenic with the communists that they were following before. See, the reason the cops are pissed is because when the communists were in power, the Democrats, remember that the cops followed all of their orders. Now, all of a sudden, because of the game they're playing, the schizophrenic game they're playing, all of a sudden the characters who were empowering them are saying they're going to depower them. And that's the only reason they're pissed about what's going on and why they're going to sit on their hands. I don't know if you saw what they're talking about with Chicago. You probably have it down in Cleveland, Columbus, and whatever. Defund the cops. So now all of a sudden they're complaining because when they call the cops, it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half for a cop to show up, right?
Yeah, well, that's been that way here for a dozen years anyway. So
right, yeah. Now here's the point. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. In Detroit, that's how it had been for all through the crack war era. In fact, when I worked downtown Detroit, I found a body down on 4th Street. Okay, guy sitting in a station wagon at a light. Somebody either popped up and killed him or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, I went downtown. I'm on the other end of 4th Street. I get into the building. I get on the phone. I call 911 at about 2:00 in the morning, and it goes busy. So it's like, oh, okay. So I called the operator. I said, operator, could you connect me with the main precinct? So she goes, sure, no problem. Here's the primary number. She hooks and she's listening. We let it ring 27, 28, 29 times, and then it went busy, and then it went dead. And she goes, I don't know what to say. And I said, I can tell you what to say. We're on our own. Thank you. Appreciate your help, ma'am. Goodbye. And she's like, because she did the gasp thing, like, oh, my God. And it's like, yeah, I did everything I could. Not going to do any more. But this was true of all of the war zone areas of Detroit that you either the cops, here's the thing, the cops typically would not come in at all. And if they did, if they were forced by command to go in, they'd have to have 12 to 20 cops to go after one problem. They would go in literally like a couple of infantry squads. And when they were done, they'd back up each other and they'd walk out like they were, they'd go in like they were just covering each other's arse, and they'd come out just as quick, and then they'd be gone. And if there was anything else that needed to be done, they didn't care, they weren't there for that, and they didn't want to hear about it. And that's where everybody got what they wanted. The cops were not defunded. The cops just, cops couldn't do anything right. Cops were, of course, the enemy for, the crack war crew. So, and everybody else that was parroting it, well, they hated the cops until they'd call the cops because they wanted the cops to come, muscle up on the other guy that was muscling up on them. So it's just we're seeing this nationally, but we did see this nationally the exact same way back in the 60s and 70s, and that's why I've been trying to tell everybody, guys, this is just an exact repeat. Even the farce with Trump, the fakery with Trump, how, we're going to kick him out. What about? Well, this is the same stuff they were saying in the second election with Nixon. They're playing. It's all the same garbage. It literally is a cookie cutter re-representation of the same thing. Go ahead, jump. I didn't mean to interfere. Please.
No, this is Mike again. Yeah, I guess this is the first time I've experienced it because I'm younger than you are. But yeah, when you see groups that you thought were at least quasi-allies really following now in line with back the blue at all costs, and I guess I kind of saw it coming because they're the groups that always I thought had these delusions of they're obsessed with someday they're going to be called up by the governor and get some official status, and then there's people like me that really could give a rat's behind about something like that. But now I think they see this as their opportunity. We're going to step in and we're going to be deputized by the governor, and you all better fall in line and, lick our boots. And, I hate seeing the bifurcation, but boy, I see it now.
Well, this is what I've said. This is where if you wondered about what Tory militia were going to be like, remember, you've watched The Patriot. That's the most modern version of something you could experience. They understand that it was a three-way conflict back then. Although it was still 2 against 1. Remember, the Tory militia, the regulars versus the militia. Now you've got a bunch of these people, and again, the logic here is people are going like, well, they're going to get rid of the communists. No, they're not. They're not going to get rid of the communists. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen as this escalates is they're going to find this as the excuse to claim that they need to get our guns and take and disarm us for safety, because what have they done? Every step of the way, what have they done? When, in fact, people go out to protect their property, what happens? A minority, and I brought this up to several people today because they're saying, well, it's the prosecutor's fault. Okay, well, the prosecutor is a minority of how many people out of how many million? How many people are actually in the prosecutor's office, guys? How many prosecutors are there? There's only one chief prosecutor, only one. Now, that one asshat and those other punks are the ones who are telling all the cops to do exactly what they're supposed to do. So they go out and they, that couple, which, by the way, was a leftist couple in St. Louis, well, they were told to go out there and take their guns. Now, they didn't go out and chase and hunt down all the rest of those turds until there was some pressure and kickback, and even then, they've only gone after a few, and it's all token. Well, with regard to the characters that showed up on the property and threatened the people in the first place. But what were the cops more than willing to do? Oh, they were more than willing to come in and disarm that couple and make sure it was public so everybody would know that couple was a prime target. If it weren't for somebody else from way, way, way outside the area finally showing up to provide physical support, they would have been crucified on their own front lawn by the same communists who told the cops and that the prosecutors are riding with not to do anything. They would have been right there riding with the communists who were going to go out and come back and kill them. We're a breath away from this, or it's already happening in so many locations. It's ludicrous. So what we're on the edge of, it's not anarchy. We're on the edge of what will need to be an American war for independence. How many people will see that? Back the blue no matter what. Really, back the blue no matter what? For what reason? They've not been there for us in the past, and they're not. In fact, all during the Obama administration, they were all ready to jump off. There's some that stepped up and said they wouldn't, a percentage, but that division is just like the division across the whole of the population. And it's a very, very small number that would say anything. Why? Because they like their job. There's power involved with it. They get a gun, you don't. When everybody else is not allowed to have a gun, which is what they were doing like in Seattle, or if you're like in Portland and you get attacked, you can't, it's evil for you to defend yourself. They had no problem just letting things go to hell in a handcart. And you're screwed. Now, as far as a bunch of these other characters, I don't know, you're probably talking about a bunch of these individuals that are, have organized home guard. We don't call it militia, we call it home guard. There's other names. Typically, you'll find that those will be the ones that will be more easily manipulated towards joining the police state when the time comes. Because they're trying to be desperately politically correct to begin with by not using the word militia, which was their whole agenda from the get-go. Kind of like
spot
preppers.
on, yeah, some of these groups that I know purposefully, and I've even had arguments with them about that. I'm like, why don't you just call it what it is? Well, no, the one calls themselves a survival group, the other a prepper organization and all this, and to me it's like, why are you going out of your way to try to cover up what you really are?
Well, they never saved them anyway. Yeah, when has it saved them? Okay, when everybody was called a survivalist because they have to come up with a title so then they can attack it. And the pattern is always the same. First, they report on, there's people called survivalists out there. Well, the only reason they're doing that is to set the forum, set the map out for the attack. And then what they do is they flip everything. Everybody, give us some footage. That's why I've told everybody, don't talk to the controlled media at all. Okay, that was our policy and has been forever. I don't need to talk to the controlled media. Well, you need to get the word out. I'm doing radio. We do our own reporting. We actually do our own thing. I am getting the word out. The only reason they want it is so they can, in theory, claim that somehow whatever they're saying is legitimate. When if you do, you could talk to them for 2 hours. They will cut everything completely and throw it on the floor, because none of it is usable, and they'll show your picture with your mouth moving, and they will spend 2, 3, or 4 minutes telling everybody supposedly what you said. Well, why do that? I've said this many times. You can tell when it's a shill and when it's a shill or a lie. He said this. Well, wait a minute. Don't you have video footage? Show me him saying that. Why are you telling me he said something? That's the easiest way to pick out when they're baffling everybody with BS and it's a lie. It's that simple. It's not hard to figure out. Well, wait a minute. Didn't you sit down and interview this guy? Well, yeah. Well, why am I not hearing any of the interview? Well, because it won't work for us. That's why. It won't work for them with their manipulation and propaganda. So the first rule is don't, because you see everybody, we were survivalists, but then all of a sudden they did the flip like they always do, and people who were survivalists were evil, and they did all the propaganda and all the television programs and all the lies there. They pumped that up, and people, some people ate the dog vomit up. Here's the thing. Most of the people didn't. But what gets me is that because of this little tiny faction of numbnuts and, nincompoops and idiots, well, oh my God, I don't want the idiots that are really stupid to not like me. And so everybody starts doing the apology thing, or I didn't know that, or I don't know anybody, and they count on this. So everybody we got to come up with a new name. We'll call ourselves, we're preppers. Because if you use prepper, it's not survivalist. So what did they do? An exact replay of what we just talked about. First it was, let's get in there. We need to talk to these preppers. And we have all kinds of footage. Then the footage gets voiced over, and then they put ominous music in the background. And by the time you're done, everybody's evil. Except, wait a minute. If you want to betray the other people that are preppers, or betray the other people that are militia, or betray are you the good militia that's licking the government their bunghole so deep your ears are brown? Well, if you're the ones who really don't do anything, and you're desperately trying to beg for permission or for some kind of doggy treat from the regime or an institution or a mechanism, whatever it is out there, like the news media, Southern perversion law, you're worried about a bunch of queers who are pedophiles, liking you. Really? Why were you worried about it? I'd have to look at your site. It's like, why are you worried about it? In fact, you should be talking them down, left, right, up, and down. You can shout from the rooftop about them. In fact, everybody should be. And that's where our problem is here. It's like, why are you waiting for approval from people who actually tore the house down and are burning it down right now to begin with and failed us completely? In fact, why are you going to help the people who never stepped up to the plate to fix it in the first, from the get-go, in fact, have helped to burn the place down? The cops haven't gone out of their way to jump on any of these people burning the place out. Or more importantly is, how about let's go after the characters that are funding them? Has there been this big cop push to go after and to, get rid of the Soroses of the world? We all know who they are. They're a minority. There's only a very small number of them. If you kill them and get rid of them, they aren't a problem for us anymore. So what is it? Oh, wait a minute. They're remembering where their bread, or let's just say where their badge is buttered. Remember that, the more people that you have like Soros doing their job to, of course, promote a bigger national and international police state, the more likely the people who have a badge on, although they may not be in the upper end of the pecking order, they get more power out of the deal. They get more property out of the deal. They get to steal more. They get to rape somebody if they want to. They get to be, play pedophile. They get to do any number of things.
Hey, Mark?
Go ahead, caller. Jump in there.
Yeah, this is Robert Miner out of Halliday, North Dakota. I just got summons today because my Facebook account is now evidence for child abuse, child neglect, and domestic violence. I encourage everybody to look at my Facebook account. They are attempting to terminate parental rights out of my children, deny me an attorney. This stuff won't stop. It's just trial after trial. I keep beating them, and they just keep coming back. I mean, it's to the point I'm actually sitting in the court, messing around my phone, playing with my Bluetooth, and telling the judge to stick it up his ass. And they don't even, are they in another planet, or is there some planet Zoltar they're from? I mean, what part of, are they going to provoke the American people until they actually get shot out of their boots? And by the way, they have a sealed warrant on this phone, and if you notice, I ain't even remotely scared of their nonsense. It's so bad they tried to set up a KZ for me Tuesday after leaving court. It just is insanity. So at what point in time do we keep talking? All my children are on Zoloft, Respitol. I can't even say the names of the other 14 drugs that they're on. My children are fighting them tooth and nail, and all they say is they need more therapy, but yet I got an army of therapists. They're going, what in the hell is going on? I've never seen a case like this. And I think they're trying to set a precedent with me, and it's not working. Because I just won't stop. Because it was what they want. They want you to acquiesce. They want you to kiss their butt and then prove that, oh, you're so much better. And I believed in that nonsense for a while, and it's like, no, I have freedom of speech. Who in the hell are you to tell me how I can and can't speak? And if I tell an adult to stick it up there, you know what, how is that child abuse if the child isn't even present? And that's what they try to put. It's so bad. They got evidence in this last summary. I paid the electric bill. That is now evidence of child abuse. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. So I don't know what I got to do or how much papers I got to present to people, because this whole case, if I took every single paper and I took it out of a binder and I put it on top of page on top of page, we are currently up to 15 feet 3 inches. Are they just bored and just endlessly want to fill out papers? And it's funny because they don't even see their own mistakes. They start conflicting what witnesses are saying. And it's like, well, that's going to be really easy to beat you when you get in a court if the judge even pays any mind to it. We're looking at most of these people lose their children going through a TPR in North Dakota at this point in time. 90% overturn rate in appeal court. It's like, I don't care. We can go to appeals. And by the time we get done, we'll just turn, instead of a $10 million lawsuit, it'd be a couple $100 million lawsuit. I mean, this is getting to the point we're beyond just civil court, North Dakota Supreme Court. This is going down basic, fundamental, I hate to use the word civil rights, but you're telling me I'm not fit for a parent because social services doesn't like how I talk? Well, that's their problem. Grow the hell up. This is America. That's why we came here, the freedom to do whatever we want to do as long as it don't harm somebody else. But they just
okay, let's back up here, too. The kids aren't there. The children aren't there with you, are they?
Oh, no, Mark. I have not seen my children. Therapists I've got army of therapists, right? This is costing a fortune. I mean, you couldn't imagine how much money this is costing. And I hate it that I have money. So my therapists say, okay, write them letters. And then the children's therapist, which works the state, oh, no, it'll be too traumatic. It'll be too traumatic. And then I'm told to buy presents. I'm told to do this. I'm told to do stuff like by other people in law enforcement. But then they turn around and say, I'm committing a crime. And now they're telling me in this affidavit summons, because of my Facebook post, which I go under Bob Miner, maybe you might want to show people, that I'm going to be arrested for a whole arsenal of crimes for posting on Facebook. And let's go back to the kid thing. I have not seen my children, wrote a letter to them, seen a picture. I can't see pictures because that's a violation of security. And it currently is 968 days. But yet they say all attempts for a reunification plan have failed. Well, how can you call it a reunification plan when you don't even let me see my children? So basically my kids are doing what I had used the term attridiate your enemy, just wear the hell them out. And they are just destroying everything. I mean, they even tried to burn the house down, literally. But that didn't work too well for my 11-year-old at this time, which was 9 when they took her, because then they put her on a whole bunch more psychotropic drugs, more therapy, more psychoanalysis nonsense, because it was suicide idealization. So allegedly, all these children are trying to commit suicide. They're all of a sudden, and I know exactly where they're at, and I'm not supposed to know the foster home they're at, but allegedly they're all starting to masturbate all of a sudden. They're locked in rooms, broken bones, all sorts of cute stuff going on. How much more are we going to put up with? I'm a dad sitting here going, I'm trying to play the system. I'm trying to do the system the way it's supposed to be done. I ain't getting no justice at all. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And the state's attorneys keep changing over and over. I don't even know how many we've had so far. And Barbara Ritter with Child Protective Services. Well, reunification will never work until Robert gets all new friends, he disassociates from all militia members, and he stops posting on social media entirely. Well, where in the hell did she get this authority? Oh, and if I don't do what she demands, then I'm not fit to be a father. Yet I'm 52 years old, and I have children at this time from 35 to 5. So I don't know what to say. Is this just where we finally say I've had enough? So it just, they live in a world of constant lies. They've got to my wife. Okay, my wife.
Go ahead. I was going to say, bring everybody up to speed. What's the situation with your wife? Go ahead.
My wife, of course, and I paid it with a psychologist, and I told him the story, of what happened with the 15 SWAT team showing up, removing me from the house, and all this other stuff. And he looked at some of the papers. He got back to me. He says, okay, I've been doing this for decades, and this is what's going to happen. And he is dead right. And he told me, he said, I have dealt with hundreds of families like this. And ultimately what's going to happen is your children are going to hate you. Your wife's going to hate you because they function emotionally. But men are not affected as much as women because you think logically. And logically you realize this is nonsense. And he goes, I hate, and he just started cussing. I hate these effing blah, 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 blah. And he was going off on him. It's like, wow, this guy's dysregulated. And he told me you might want to consider to save yourself just abandoning your wife and children and moving on with your life, because when they get done destroying your family, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to repair the damage they've done to these children. And your marriage, once they get involved, very rarely does a marriage ever survive Child Protective Services. And we've been married for 27 years now. And their latest complaint is the Facebook, because me and the wife were indirectly communicating on Facebook, and they are mad that we were communicating. So I don't know what to say. I mean, women are going to go for that safety factor. They're going to go. I mean, they have abused my wife to the point of insanity. I've got all the reports of this. They baited her. I've got other therapists going, you can't do what it's never going to work with what they did. This is intentionally going to provoke anger in the children and your wife. And that's exactly what they did. It did every single thing, according to the book, wrong, and then turn around and put it on the parents' back that you are evil, you are bad. So I don't know what to say. Maybe you could ask questions that divulge more. I've been an open book for the whole entire case for everybody, been an asshole, but I don't think people understand what kind of pressure I'm under. And, you know, getting the support out of this, people just cannot wrap their mind around this. If you want to understand what happens when they show up with 15 SWAT teams to where I'm at 2.7 years later, never seeing my children, you would be less bound up with legal action if you had 25 different murder cases. It is just case after. I mean, it's the same stuff. They try you for the same stuff over and over and over and over. You think, well, you can't go through double jeopardy. I'm actually looking at papers that I got today, and I've already been tried on this stuff 6 times.
Hey,
They'll
Robert.
say, oh, well, yes.
This is Carl in Virginia. This will stop when you can get your hands on some photos of the judge with his mistress or the prosecutor where they're
no.
dealers.
That's this nonsense. That doesn't even mean anything. Seriously, that is just nonsense. These people don't give a squat about anything. Their wife would probably be in on a threesome anyways. I mean, these people are so evil. I've got a post on Facebook about the social worker, Barbara Ritter. She went into court looking so nappy hair, dirty, unbathed. Her shoes looked like they were garden shoes for 16 years. And she rolls into court just looking like a ragamuffin. And the state's attorney was no different. They don't care. Their whole thing, it's almost like when you're in the room, you're dealing with demons and ghouls. It's just the demonic energy comes out of them, and you're just like, how can anybody in a right mind be this mentally twisted, this upside down? And none of these people that have given all this endless testimony against me have ever talked to me. They've never heard audios, videos, nothing. They go into court, they hold their hand up, they swear to oath, to tell the truth and the whole truth. And then they start telling about how I am, and they've never talked to me. So, I mean, they are so openly and willingly go into court and lie under oath. They get caught. The judge just acts like there's nothing happened. If he's even a judge in that area, I mean, administrator, court clerk, whatever we might want to call him. But we got another hearing coming up on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, and possibly days after that if he has to go past Friday. And, it's not cheap. And then you turn around and get attorneys that try to sue you. So we just play the little game of discharging the debt like the Freemans did over in Montana that got them killed. And it actually works if you know how to do that. But, it's just craziness. And they won't just stop. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I am literally a POW. My children are POWs in the country. And it got so bad that the sheriff, Chris Estes of Dickey County, North Dakota, called up the sheriff of Dunn County, told him how bad of a man I was. And I was getting pulled over endlessly until I literally took legal papers, marched into the sheriff's department in Dunn County and said, look, you need to look at this nonsense. And ever since, they've been sympathetic. It's like, man, you don't have a problem with us. You have a problem with those people down there. I had a court appearance Tuesday. They literally had to bring a cop from Beulah all the 280-something miles with me to protect me from the sheriff, Chris Estes, down there. And I'm no pushover, trust me. So... does this tell you just how corrupt these people are? They don't know right from wrong. They can't say we were wrong. We didn't do a home assessment. We never talked to the children. We never talked to the parents. The sheriff never did an interview. It's like, oh, you know what? We'll just fill in the blanks as we go. And that's why you're seeing the desperate act of, well, we'll say it's Facebook post. So I paid the electric bill. That's child abuse. That's a new one on me. So I just don't know what more to say. I figured I'd just drop a dime. I will tell you right now, I am not in any way, shape, or form. No, I believe politically suicide's an issue, or wouldn't even think about it in any way, shape, or form. It's getting pretty bad out here. I mean, it's just. And then we forgot about the fact is Deputy Brian Sorum told me he was going to turn state's evidence against Chris Estes. Chris Estes somehow got the house cleaned up with Brian Sorum before the North Dakota BCI showed up, because all of a sudden Brian Sorum just somehow committed suicide 30 days later. And all the video of him talking to me in a cop car is all gone, which is 15 SWAT teams and not one video other than a mistake Chris Estes made after the fact when he said he didn't have a body camera, but all of a sudden, well, it was kind of hard. And we found that in somebody else's file. So they've been rewriting evidence on felony charges. Charges that were dismissed, they keep trying to say that I've been convicted on charges they dismissed. Because they charged me with aggravated assault, 2 charges. They dismissed that. Then they rewrote them to be child abuse. I'll give you the dates. They dismissed the aggravated assault on the 1st of October 2018. And then they rewrote them out to be different for child abuse, 3 charges the following day, so 2nd of October 2018. Then they dismissed the child abuse charges on October 1st of 2019. Then they rewrote that with a child neglect charge. And then they got a hold of me at 8 o'clock before I seated a jury at night. And they said, we'll exonerate your wife, which they did. And they would return the children to my wife by July or August of 2019. At which point they still haven't returned the children. But they did everything they said. If I took a child neglect charge. Well, now we're looking at, and I've got other people involved, they're like, they didn't even have any reasons to even bring you into court. They were literally trying to say 4 cavities in my 9-year-old at the time, 9 years and 5 months old. She had 4 cavities in her teeth. It took them 159 days to get her into a dentist to have these baby teeth removed. So at that point in time, she's almost 10 years old. And that's child abuse. Ear mites, you can't even have ear mites. Eczema, but the problem, they were in foster care 14 days eating really whacked out food I wouldn't authorize in my house. And obviously they got eczema over that, and that was considered my fault, but it's 14 days after the removal. And it just doesn't stop. That's what I keep telling everybody. When's this going to stop? When's this going to stop? When's it going to stop? And it's just like a broken record. When the hell am I going to get back to my life? When can my children get these people gone? And it's just, I'm going to estimate from what I see. If you look on the Nexus report, I put it on my Facebook page. I'm that Bob Miner with the bearded guy with the white T-shirt. They're making somewhere, the foster parents are making somewhere in the neighborhood of my 5 children, $130,000 a year taking care of my children, according to the Nexus report from North Dakota. Tell me this isn't a business. And if they adopt the children out, what they're trying to do, the payments from the government don't stop. The payments won't stop on those children until they're out of high school. So either 18 or they're out of high school. Well, obviously, they literally tried to prevent my daughter, Julia, from going to kindergarten until she was 7 years old. And the whole reason is money. Everything these people deal with is money, money, money. So you start looking at how many American people are in my shoes that are losing their children. You're talking about 400,000 people are going to have their children removed this year. I think the number was estimated at 416,000. So we really don't need a militia. We just got to assemble moms and dads that have lost their children. And there's a lot of them, because on my Facebook, I kind of cater to that. And I get DM'd so much I can't even keep up with it anymore. What do I do? What do I got to file? And, you know, guys, if you're looking to have a very uncivil war, you need to find these parents. Because there's no more hurt than if you got, like me, 5 children, and they show up with 15 damn SWAT teams. They're wearing a balaclava face mask, Marpat green camouflage. They're wearing all black boots. Every one of those guys I ID'd had 3 battle packs on them. They all had M4s. And I asked one of the guys, I said, are you that damn bad at shooting? You need that damn much ammo for one guy? My God, you suck. I mean, it just, you know, I could keep going back in time, but where are we at right now? You know, and the latest they're trying to do is they'll try to wear you out, financially wear you out to the point you cannot have an attorney in court, and you just throw your hands because you're not required to have an attorney because it's a civil case. Literally, our children in America, whether you have your parental rights or not, comes down to the opinion of a judge. One man can go, you know what, I don't think you're a fit parent. F you. And your baby's a god. There's no visitation until either they get out of high school or they turn 18. Are you proud to be an American right now? You know, and of course, what did Chris Estes do? Showed up. The first thing he had to do was secure all the weapons. Well, what he thought he was securing. He got the kids' guns and he got some broken stuff, but he didn't get their old stuff. How many of us are prepared for A-teams come in and said, I need something to go away? Okay. I got this Mosin Nagant that's about shot out and busted. You can have that dang thing. But no, he got well in excess of $100,000 worth of weapons. The gold and silver that was in my safes is all gone. So they took it. It's bye-bye. This is your SWAT teams. This is your law enforcement. These are the guys you're supposed to honor and respect. You know what, Mark? If I had to do this all over again, because you were on the radio when this went down, and I heard Joe McNeil talk about this after you go down this road, I'd have killed every one of them goddamn son of bitches. I wouldn't have batted a freaking eye. 50 had been singing until I grabbed the next 50. And that was the whole thing. Mr. Miner's got numerous 50 BMG long-range sniper rifles and a substantial amount of stores at the Miner compound. I was like, well, it was a Miner family farm yesterday. How did it get into be a compound? So you're saying I'm going into another trial. Why would I talk this way? I'm wore out. My wife is just... I'd have to say she's ready to die. Her last meeting with the children, I was reading through it last night, and it was basically she was saying her final goodbyes to her babies. As Barbara Ritter is sitting there needling, just needling and needling and needling. So they don't like this. Like I said, this phone is being tapped. I mean, it's so dang hot right now just for talking on a phone call. And it never does. This didn't happen until I got served the subpoenas and all this stuff. So, I don't know, Mark. Might be my final reckoning here, because I've even told everybody, you adopt my babies out, you better call the effing National Guard, because I'm not gonna tolerate this. Because you know what? If I won't even stand up for my wife and my children, how the hell am I going to live with myself? And how many men just walk away from their wives and children? And that's the whole thing the state's observed. They've never seen any man so damn hell-bent to defend his family. Well, you know what, you assholes? You're training the mind. You look like a bunch of punks to me. So we'll find out what the Navy taught us.
Well, we're at the top.
Thanks, Mark.
And keep us up to speed on what's going on. But again, stay in contact. We got a couple other people that are listening. Hopefully you guys can pitch in. Again, Facebook, Bob Miner is the page, right? Okay. God bless our republic. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run. We're the march. We're going to take a break. We will be back for the next hour of the Intel Report. It is Thursday, and it ain't any better in North Dakota than it was the last time we heard about it. God bless. We'll be back.
And the sun will always shine on the strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys, always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys, fight for the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys, stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys, high on the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys, it will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys, faith in the liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12 gauge autoloader,
Sure.
the 45 long slide
Yep.
with laser sighting,
You betcha.
the Uzi 9mm
Yes, sir.
phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay. They'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we hoped you to always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper, so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm ranches and seize the family farm, and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores, and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you will fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand, defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. Pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now, as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside to dream while you were asleep, and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you. God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour. I'll tell you what, this is it's been a hell of a month, and we're heading towards the end of it. This is the second hour of the Intelligence Report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines, in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and central. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and Ultranet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states, the territories, and the clock. It is 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Thursday. It is the 24th of September. It is the 12th year of Open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist Occupation of America with a K, 2020. Old Earth Calendar, 2020. Battle for the Republic, Dance of Swords. Congratulations, you are living the experience. And we're headed towards conflict. Again, beautiful day in the bottom of the state of Michigan, medium temperature. You couldn't really, if you're going to work on a roof, this would be a good day to have worked on a roof, to be quite honest. That was perfect weather. Not too hot, not too cold, Goldilocks. It's just right. Couple things. Bob Miner, of course, was up in the last hour. I don't have to say any more than I think I know how a lot of people have pretty well decided they're going to respond to the kind of problems that we're facing here. It's like everything else. Formula is very straightforward, and there is only one real way to deal with the problem anymore. It's across the board. So organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. establish a 510 program in your area of operation. I have no confidence in the election. I do not doubt that it's going to be completely fiddled with across the board, top to bottom, total confusion. The idea is you're supposed to embrace the communist police state, all of the Stalinists versus what? The Trotskyites and Leninites, or Che Guevaraites, or, Castroites. Take your pick. What are we talking about here? As far as I can see, ain't nothing looking any better. One way or another, it's going to the shipwreck. So we need to be squared away and prepared for what it is that is going to happen. Remember, you're going to have people trying to betray. This first part I'm going to remind you about. The betrayal thing, congratulations, the American War for Independence. If you don't know the history, the real history, if you think somehow there was some kind of plastic, just uniform red, uniform blue, no, there was all kinds of skullduggery, et cetera, in every war that happens. The American War for Independence was no different. So again, grow up and realize that that's just part of the battlefield, where you are, what's going to win, what's going on. With regard to the situation, again, with child perverted services, some people have pretty well made up their mind about what's going to happen there, and we all know where that's going to lead. Okay, it's just one of the many things that will be gone once everything kicks in, and really they're never coming back. It's just not going to be there anymore. It will be part of that federal/international thing that's going to be burned out of the country. That's all there is to it, just how it has to work. So keep it on the list of things to do. Know who's who in the zoo. Remember, they're a minority. There are only so many that are out there. And when the time comes, if everybody decides to do what needs to be done right, won't be any more. It's just how it works. Anyway, let's see, a couple of things. Ammunition, I got to mention it. I'll tell you, I ran into a lot of people, different people today. And no, actually, it's really kind of refreshing. There's plenty of people who think like we do out there. Many more. They don't even want to be around any of the numbskulls, idiots, or incompetents anymore. So they're not going to the store. They're actually just the reverse. They're not going to the store because they're hiding from the stores. They're not going to the stores because they don't have to deal with the Fruit Loops, the Bug Eyes, the mask wearers, okay? And I don't think the system really is fully grasped that yet. Some of the chain stores are, trying to have sales nonstop, or have been trying to lure people in, and it's not really doing a whole lot of good because people are just not motivated to, fiddle fart with the fools. And this is creating an interesting situation because as it stands right now, I don't think it's going to get any better because they keep reinforcing what are failed policies or loser policies. And everybody's expressed that. I know a lot of people that, there are certain businesses they're just never going to go back to because since they've already betrayed us, they're not going to change their ways. They may try to change their lip service towards us. But other than that, it's not going to work. It just ain't going to happen. That's all there is to it. And it is true with what are significant lesser industries where step by step they're going to be put out of business by their own cooperation with the agenda. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's not going to get any better for them. So also not going to get any worse for us. I mean, we're already seeing the situation for what it is. And there are people you can deal with where you don't have to deal with the nonsense with these canned regimes. The other thing is, we do have the majority of the people out there that we need for the task. They just need to properly get a mindset that they got nothing to lose and everything to gain by getting rid of the machine, and that's where a lot of people are now. So the whole comedy of you all need to vote. Everybody needs to get out and vote. Well, don't worry, everybody. We're going to vote whether we want to or not. Your vote is going to be recast in so many different ways you don't even know about. Which it's not really your vote. It's just your name is going to be used for a fiction and a lie that they are going to continue to promote while they're busy stirring the pot. And the logic is that you're going to pick one of the two enemy sides and join in the nonsense. Well, how about we don't? Okay, I'm not even going to argue or debate the whole thing. Getting into the wasted time about the folderol with the Demican and Republic rats when they're, again, two sides of the same coin. They're betraying us, they have been betraying us, and they're fully cooperating and betraying us right now. Anybody who's buying into that is really going to help to promote what is the train wreck we've been talking about, the shipwreck, the crash, and as far as with what's happening with butting of heads. The thing is, we're going to choose our direction. We're not going to be pushed by them into whatever it is that, they think they can use to maneuver a bigger and bigger and even larger international police state by the time we're done. So, again, we've got work to do. And I'm not just going to complain about the problems. Real quick, AIM surplus and other ammo sites. It's been kind of quiet the last day or two, and I found out one of the reasons is that the next part of the wall is hitting the machine. Availability, there's, those corners are going to be swept out pretty soon the rest of the way. Something I found out about that talking to one of the jobbers with what they're saying is there simply aren't any corners left to sweep out. A lot of the unique or odds and ends or very expensive ammo is what's been left, just kind of like what we saw several years ago. And now that that's gone, there is no significant relief, especially because of the cost, the added costs that have been tagged onto everything that are preventing people from really reinvesting their capital, their currency, their digits into the more expensive stock and material. Now, maybe they'll break down, but right now, this is why you've seen everything kind of pitter to a halt in terms of inventory. And when something does show up, as I've pointed out, it's like UN Ammo and a lot of the others, you're talking $1 a round, $1.25 a round, $1.15 a round. For ammunition, you were paying 13, 14 cents, 28 cents for, a few months ago. Now, nothing has really justified that. To a degree, this is, again, profiteering as expected. It's capitalist state. We know that. But what's interesting is some people are not going along with the idea of ransacking your wallet because they want to help to make the rest of this work for them. They want, they realize we're in a war effort, and they're trying to build up a military, the militia or a defense force by providing a service and resources. Certain companies, you'll notice, are not gouging. This is true wherever they can prevent that from happening, they're doing it. Now, it doesn't mean that the prices aren't going to go up. Okay, that's still, there's just certain things that are not going to be contained. Raw materials with the Chinese especially, we warned everybody about this, as the steel industry, the aluminum industry, all these different elements were more and more manipulated by the Chinese. The foreign, kosher mafia influence has gotten worse. And now we're to the point where, like they argued years ago, what they're going to do is run up all the bills for all of the extraneous stuff, no matter what it is. In fact, even for, begging to, have a gun permit or whatever. If you've seen the New Jersey numbers, they're right out of the Handgun Control Incorporated 1993, 1994 agenda. We've brought this up many times. They're talking about quadrupling the cost for this, sextupling the cost for that, increasing the tax for fill in the blank on anything having to do with firearms, and raising fees on everything to the point where, nobody can afford or is going to be able to afford to do it. Well, that's the whole plan. The idea was that in 2 years, if they started this scam, that in 2 years, everybody would not be getting a license from the government and they'd be able to, grab this and do that. Well, no, that's not really how it's going to work. People are going to decide that they can't afford it, so they're just not going to worry about the paperwork, and then they're going to do it anyway, and then there's going to be a confrontation. And then the rest is history, as they say, pop, pop, boom, boom. That's the part that they don't seem to understand. It's like, well, you people will, because you won't be able to get a license, you'll give your guns up. It's like, no. As a matter of fact, everybody's pretty well been buying all the ammunition and mags because they can see the writing on the wall, and they're not going to give you anything. Just that simple. And again, where is it headed? Confrontation. And is it going to be disorganized? No, not as disorganized as I believe they are assuming. Too many people are too well organized, and a lot of other people that would have been probably sitting on their butt. Thank you for the professional sports BS going on right now. Had they not started to try to piss in everybody's face with the Black Lives Matter and the kill all the white people crap in the sports, the distraction arena, those people are now motivated and are now realize and see the writing on the wall. So that has created a whole another wave and legion of forces that are moving in the right direction. We don't care if they even stay the course. The fact that they'll be, they've acquired the arms, the munitions, whatever, we'll acquire it from them if they go panty waist. If they decide to piss their pants, remember, guys, you want to be there first. Oh, I think it's dangerous. I didn't know it was going to happen. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll take your ammunition and weapons. If we grab those, everybody will say that you got rid of all your stuff. Because remember, guys, the panty waist will fall, and as they do, the idea is to be there first, and we remind them, hey, you get some money from us, you're not going to get anything from the enemy. Even the chump change when they do a buyback is a ghost of what the value of the weapons are. You give them a reasonable price, but you don't give them a great price because they don't deserve it. But you can still access and acquire a good portion of the munitions and materials that they have pulled out of the system, and they're in a second tier going into our machine, and they disappear, they vaporize. Now it's impossible to know where they've gone, and this we've been doing for quite some time. I cannot emphasize this enough. Remember, a lot of you will stay the course. Some won't. It's just the way it is. Get over it. It's reality, and it's not the movies. This is not a 2-hour epic movie or a 10-part or 5-part miniseries. It's real life. And because of that, all the math formulas have to be applied to understand exactly what it is that's going on. And there's nothing here that's surprising us. Nothing, okay, as far as what the enemy's up to. The big thing here, again, is for a lot of people, they are, as we've said, finally having their epiphany. I don't think, again, depending on where, at the very least, okay, think about this. If you can't get a person to arm themselves, which most people have something in the way of weapons. If you think that arming yourself is buying an AR-15 because somebody told you just got to have an AR-15, but you have 25 other weapons, you're already armed, okay? In fact, it's nice if you get another rifle. This is America. You can do that, but it's not critical, okay? You don't need an AR-15 if you have, the myriad of other weapons that we've been talking about over the years here that are already on the shelf, that you already have. I had that happen with somebody yesterday. Day before yesterday. I was talking to him, and he goes, I need an AR-15. I said, well, wait a minute. Aren't you a shooter? Yeah. Well, I don't need to really know, but you have a lot of guns. I know you do, because we've been to the range at different times, and I've been at the range when you've been at the range over the decades, and I know what you had out there were shooting. Did you sell it all? Well, no. I said, well, then you already have the weapons you need to fight this war. And if you want to build an AR-15, that'd be great. Do it from pieces and take your time. But you're already ready to fight. You just need to make sure whatever you pick up, you're ready to do the job right, and you know where to put the bullet and keep doing it. And it's like, well, one person got $1,000, another person's got a pile of carbines. In fact, the biggest thing is he had some ammo, but not as much. So one of the things I pointed out, hey, go to Libertytreeradio, or forgive me, don't go to link there. We do have a bunch of links. Go over to AIM Surplus. I usually give the list that we hear us talk about on the air, but AIM Surplus, UN ammo, everybody's got carbine. Everybody has got some carbine on the shelf. It's all the Korean military, but the Korean military is stripper clips. It's it's in a can. It's 1,000 20-some rounds, etc. 92, 28, whatever. And you're talking a big chunk of ammunition for a very reasonable price right now on stripper clips. If you got a carbine, that's a steal. And if you got a carbine or a bunch of carbines, like I told this other person today, it's like, well, nice if you have the AR, but again, how many mags did the person have? Well, I've had people tell me everything from 2 to 5 magazines, and I tell them, well, that's enough to get you killed. And they look at you kind of funny, and then they think you're joking. It's like, well, yeah, it's enough to get you killed. Here's the way to think about magazines, okay? Everybody's talking about going out and fighting, right? When you go for a drive, do you calculate just your gas outbound and figure, hell with it, I'll take my chances coming back? I mean, granted, you have a gas station, you can stop. But when you go out, don't you calculate your gas coming back? So if you're going to go out to fight and you have combat load, you got to figure your assumption is I'm going to consume so much ammunition outbound. Don't you need to have ammunition to get back from? You're probably going to be fighting both ways, right? So wouldn't it behoove you to have more magazines, more ammo? I mean, doesn't that make more sense? That's why, like I say, my first response, oh, that's enough to get you into something. That's enough to get you killed. And it's really true. Now, here's the thing. Every one of them, I don't know how many followed through. I've done this for decades and decades, people. And you can tell somebody about government liquidation. I can tell 100 people, and maybe one person went and did something. I've seen this. Am I frustrated? No, because if I do hit that right person, they're actually as motivated as I am. And what's really cool is they'll make up for the other nincompoops who sat on their hands. Okay? The same is true with anything else that we're doing here. It's like, yep, I can tell 100 people about, well, this is the cheapest magazine. Like, you know, again, the stuff over at Apex Gun Parts, the Set Me magazines. How many people will listen? I don't know. Now, I would say, though, that, you know, for every one that I tell, there's one that doesn't listen. Even when you write it down, that will not follow through on it. But the others will. And, in fact, the ones that do, when I shout, hey, throw me a mag, they'll probably have a magazine that they could throw me without saying they just sent me half their magazines. You threw me one mag, and you have, that's half the mags I'm carrying. You just threw me one mag. Yeah, I know. Oh, great. Oh, that's really great. Oh, joy. So instead, we need to change that, and we constantly need to be harping on that. You can get people motivated. The one that you do get motivated might be the one that saves your life down the road. Just remember that. That one guy that had that one mag you needed. So you take that one bullet and put it in the enemy, and it's that last bullet you needed to break their spine, to drop them, from being motivated to fight. That one bullet, the right place, the right time is what you had to have there, and you got it because Bob had that other magazine you told him to buy. That's the attitude you need to take with everything. And again, we're in this for the long haul, okay? At least I am. I don't know. Hopefully everybody else understands. There's a bunch of things that, some people are like what I pray. It's like, well, we're not going to be home by Christmas, and this is going to be a long fight. Oh, well, that's not good. It's like, well, it's as good as you get, okay? Roll with it and get over it. It's as good as you get. That's another thing, okay? Congratulations. We let the enemy get way too far. We should have stopped them a lot sooner. Now we're in a situation where you're going to have to fight for a while to clean the house out. It's a needful thing. Your enemy is arrogant. The good thing is they're very arrogant. I don't care if it's the police state or if it's the thugs on the street working for the police state, the ones that are the Antifa types. They're all working for the same clique. But their arrogance level has changed the battlefield for us in a very positive way, and I hope they keep just doing what they're doing, the police state itself and the characters that, they're manipulating. Because everybody that is thinking is looking straight at the problem and understands exactly what we're talking about when we discuss like the Hegelian dialectic or anything else, in that venue. Really are up to speed. Oh, anyway, being Thursday, I want to say hi, first of all, to Camp Emmerich, Camp Emerson, New Camp Stassa, Camp Wayland North, the Ogama Ranges, Nagahitcham, also Ogama 6. The big range is open right now, but I guess the rest are down. In fact, I don't think they really had that much in the way of bodies for today. It's Thursday. Also Fox and Wolf. So for everybody, if you guys are up, again, congratulations, and we appreciate you guys rebroadcasting Liberty Tree Radio on your individual micro stations at each of the facilities, number one. Also, we do have some people coming up from Kentucky. I think we'll have some people from Louisville up here this weekend, and they're going to give everybody a heads up on what's been going on down there, which is cool. And for all of you who don't know, the latest Eubangus Knuckle Dragus, everybody's got to have a frothing crazy town / burn the house down experience now. So whatever's going on, they've come out a little bit. The cops in the National Guard are supposedly there. Who knows? Who trusts anything that the controlled media says anyway? And, it's now under control. It was all peaceful. Nothing was really happening. How many people are dead? Oh, you don't need to know about that. So anyway, it's just, this is going to continue the way we're seeing it, and it's not going to be a surprise for anybody, certainly not for any of you. But we are now going into the final phase. We're a week or two away from, well, actually it's a week, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think 10 days, 10 to 11 days, and the Fed's going to make its announcement about the money and how much money that the Israelis are going to steal from the U.S. With the turnaround of the accounts. Trump will sign off on that. Another $2 or $3 trillion is going to be stolen from America and taken over to Haifa and Tel Aviv. No accountability. Nobody's paying anything back. It's just going to be stolen from us. That's expected. The Oi boys are going to do that for sure. The big thing here is, and there's going to be some kind of supposed motivational pat on the head, doggy treat. You're going to get stuffed in your face, whether you like it or not. And you're going to pay for it no matter what. Let's not forget that. So October is the beginning of the slide, and then November is the shipwreck. Now, another thing, real quick, we have talked about, but not enough, about administration and government once this kicks in, once this thing starts to go to hell in a handcart. It took about 6 months with the American War for Independence to actually get local government back on track with regard to being patriot local government, okay? Let me give you an example. At the state levels, which originally were colonies, the governors had been under house arrest. Some of the governors were under house arrest almost immediately, but the governors progressively were under house arrest or fled their respective colony/now states. You might recall that Benjamin Franklin's son, who was one of the governors, was first under house incarceration and then was deported back to England. Now, that's not a surprise, and we see quite a bit of this in the process. That was the state level. That was at the highest level of government. At the county level and at the local level, Tories were in power in some places. Patriots were in trouble, were in power in the others. Yeah, they were in trouble because they had to reorganize the government accordingly, or actually set the government up and put it in proper line. And this, of course, meant that a lot of people were working with little or no background on government and how it's supposed to work. Well, government really wasn't difficult to deal with because government was minimalist back then. In fact, what's going to happen this time around with us is the same situation. Most of the bureaucracy will cease to exist because it's unnecessary in the first place. It serves no purpose except for the globalist. If we have, in fact, what this is going to do, let me point something out, is it will streamline and make more effective our side of the chessboard in that respect. See, we aren't going to have the bureaucracy. Child Protective Services, those people will be gone. In fact, if we catch them here on the ground, everybody knows what we're going to do to that bunch. And the same is true of many of the other police state agencies that are out there. They're going to cease to exist. There won't be a vacuum because they were never to be there in the first place. We have overlapping tier of 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 bureaucracy and police state governance that just needs to be gone. It's why we have the problems we have. It's why people are trying to defend their homes. And another element of the government does everything it can to persecute and prosecute the people trying to defend themselves, the regular people. Well, that has to come to an end. In order for that to come to an end, you got to get rid of the regime that's doing it to you. And, that means both the organic street and the other organic sandbag that's in the bureaucracy, both working hand in hand, perceiving you as the number one enemy. So just a heads up on that. That's where it's one of the things that we need to deal with and we're going to have to address. With regard to real elections, well, here's how it's going to work. An election only take one day and is known to you, in other words, personally known to you, as in local voting is the only possibility. That means it's going to be a traditional system, but it'll be a traditional American system, and it's going to have to be very, very, very well, let's just say, disciplined. That means that there's anybody caught cheating is going to be considered a high crime. We have a variety of different issues that will have to be addressed first before the process is even put into play. But everybody needs to understand that all the games they've been playing for the last several years are out the window. They're gone. So you'll have the alien, frothing at the mouth drama queen crew on one side, and you'll have a very focused and very precise and streamlined, effective government, or again, public government with minimal public government on the other. That is going to make all the difference. It's just like the working person versus the working man versus the drama queen on the other side. If we use an American management system, not only can we cut a sway through the people, but it's not that we're still not going to end up with a fight. They're going to throw more junk at you no matter how good you are. But the fact of the matter is that you will still win. It's just a matter of how long it will take to win and whether or not you can stay focused in the process to ensure that you get what you want when you win. Most common mistake made is, well, now that we've won, I can throw my hands up in the air, don't have to wait. No, we maintain we maintain control of the reins. The population is going to have to be, again, motivated, educated, and responsible.
Exactly. The fight is just putting on the brakes. Then we got to steer the horse in the right direction.
Exactly. That's where our
and this
problem.
time, the Bill of Rights, I don't want any little one-sentence things. It's going to be spelled out so that there can be no monkeying with it. There's no, that's the National Guard stuff. No. Everybody has, just like Tenchcock said, it's the armed militia is every swinging dink, and everybody has the right to have every nasty weapon of war that everyone else does. Go screwing around with it and mess up somebody else will burn you down. Period.
Right. And in fact, that
puts all the other stuff to end.
That has to be the initiator for a conflict to continue. The moment that anybody thinks that they are going to jiggle the system back into some percentage of what we already have had problems with and has failed, that's not going to be coming back into play. The bureaucracy is going to be gone. That's where the bureaucracy is the issue. Ban the bureaucracy. Ban the bureaucracy. Ban the bureaucracy. I got to dig out some of my other Rexer artwork. I'm going to make copies. I actually have it I've got it on file. I just had it in my hand. Fred Rexer did a whole bunch of other artwork. Most of you have seen Be Prepared, It's Later Than You Think. If you pay attention and look at that posting, look at the back wall behind the family, and there's it's the all-seeing eye pyramid, but with the international no symbol around it on a poster, and it says, ban the bureaucracy. That's one of the things we need to resurrect. It's time to ban the bureaucracy. It needs to be gone. It's why everybody's fiddle-farting the way that they are. The other thing is, again, the government that governs best, first of all, governs least. It's that simple. And so, first of all, again, what's the purpose? What are you trying? Well, we know what they're trying to do. Here's the problem: every time you give them anything, they, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It's that simple. With regard to anybody promoting a police state, promoting centralist government, promoting, the monarchy, it's always going to be the same thing over and over again. So we give them nothing.
Why can't you just be reasonable?
Yeah, that reasonable. My reasonable is I will shoot your ass. See, it's like, let me give you an example. Okay, how many people, I don't know if you've seen this, how many people have seen the video of the woman being attacked in the bleachers at the football game here the last couple of days?
I haven't watched it. I've seen it, but I haven't got a chance to look at it. Okay,
now here's what gets me. Do you know what? When I see an image like that, the only thing I want to know is who are they? Because and I'm going to tell you why I want to know who is. I was trying to figure out who's who in the zoo. Why is this one punk in the white shirt coming down? And why does he have his arms crossed? Who's this kid? This character obviously is some politically correct turd from the school who's wearing kind of purplish outfit. And then there's a cop, and there's another female. I don't know if the female is with the woman or if she's one of the Karen/panty waists who was up there to get in the woman's face. But if I found out that the female was part of the entourage attacking her, the only question I had was, who do I shoot? I'm butt cold serious about this. The only thing I look at when I see things like that nowadays is I'm restrained for the moment, but I won't be restrained here very soon. And if who would I shoot? Well, I'd shoot that one, that one, that one, and that. What order would it be? Well, the character who tased her should have been shot. The other, cop thug wannabe, he should be shot. If that female is there because she's going to be the panty waist police state wannabe, her ass should be shot. And if that other punk coming down had his arms crossed and was trying to muscle up to keep the peasants away, his butt would be shot too. That's the only way I'm looking at this now. There's no debate. You're like talking to a backed up toilet. The woman, this is the epitome of what we've been talking about. Only now you've got all these punk, asshats. Well, I got some kind of authority. No, you don't. In fact, you're dead with the rest of them now. We knew this was going to go this way, and this is why we need to put the stop to it. But at a given point, it's like bop, 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 bop. Notice I didn't go boop, 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 boop. I got a woman in the middle I don't want to shoot. Who would I shoot first? What would my order of contact be? When I look at
first person that was armed.
Yeah, who's armed heaviest gets shot first. You know what I mean? And that would have been, there was no reason. They're in the bleachers and everybody's spread out already to the point where it's asinine. So okay, now everybody, if you're so paranoid, if you're such a hypochondriac, and if you're so terrified of life, why are you even at the football game, or why are you even showing up and you got to have a body mask on and all this other garbage? My argument in the last couple of days with people is, if you're really that paranoid, that Twilight Zone, I don't have a problem with that, but you should be mandated. Me, no. I don't believe that you should be wearing a mask. But if you believe you should wear a mask, then you should be held to the highest standards of the OSHA requirements based upon the threat. And that means that you need a $700 personal protective mask that you have to buy, not me, not the government. That if you believe that you got to wear one of these stupid ass, Muslim, face muzzles, Jewish face muzzles, because the Jews are, the Jewish and Muslims are laughing their ass off there, what they've got are slave muzzles on you. But if you're stupid enough that you have to wear that, then you are stupid enough that you should pay top dollar for a full brand new, like one of these EG 500s. They have a full solid oval mask. It's got a couple of ports in it. You hook up 2 filters. You get biofilters for $200 that will protect you from anything that could possibly eat your flesh. Okay? But you should be mandated to do that. If you're stupid enough to tell me that you believe that coffee filter / that face diaper is doing any good, you need to have a mask, and it should be dictated that you wear it. If you're going to come out, I don't want your sorry ass in my face. And to protect me from you, I want you to wear a mask so that I really know that you're an idiot. That's how it should be. Otherwise, no, we're going to be normal people. I'm watching it, every day. The only reason we got these black mask guys, it's not because they're cool. Of course, that's the whole idea. Oh, we're in black because the black's cool. No, the black covers dirt. You got this pasty-ass, bacteria-filled, virus-filled piece of diaper that you're wearing, and they're wearing it over and over and over and over and over again. And under no circumstances does it in any way, shape, or form conform to any aspect of what is an intelligent process for PPE, personal protective equipment, in no way, shape, or form. So why is it black? So they can get away with creating this illusion because they've got this aloofness thing going on. Their feces doesn't stink, yours does. Well, I'm going to tell you, their face stinks. I'd love to take like an oxygen purity sensor. I had those at the U. They cost $1,800 a unit. And I could dial the thing up, and I could make it as sensitive as I wanted to, and it would identify bacteriological, even radiological if I paid another $800 for another little disc. But it would go when you got closer to a source. I guarantee that none of these asshats wearing these face masks could pass that survey. I guarantee that they are nothing but walking effluvia, that they are a waste bucket. They've just got nothing but a waste bucket, an ashtray, a toilet wipe attached to their face. And they're as dumb as a stinking box of rocks. They're as stupid as and that's the insult. Having an idiot with a shoe-size IQ like that trying to bark at me about something, you don't want to do that. I'd put a fist through your face nowadays.
It's a used toilet wipe they've got pressed to their face.
Right, yeah, multiple used. In fact, it went to different toilets to make sure it had a full spectrum of bacteria and viruses on board. Seriously. That's how stupid this is. And again, guys, you all know if you have been listening to this program for we've been doing almost 30 years of radio. You know I am a fanatic about nuclear, biological, and chemical defense. You know that. You don't have to watch anything I've done. Everything that I've ever done always includes NBC, nuclear, biological, and chemical defense. So don't tell me I don't believe in it. But what I do not believe in is idiocy, incompetence, foolishness, stupidity demonstrated and proudly demonstrated like I'm supposed to go along with the shoe-size IQ fool who apparently forgot everything he ever heard in high school biology, let alone that most of them will say, well, I had college time. And these idiot sticks, and I'm watching them because I got people as old as I am. Oh, and they're so prim, and they're bug-eyed because you watch when they come into a place, and I don't wear a mask, and they're all bug-eyed, and they're all they're paranoid, and it's like you limp, dink, cowardly piece of ignorant filth. I am so disgusted with these people. Oh, I can smile at them. I laugh at them. Like you said, I agree with what, Dar, you were saying the other day about, I tell them everything. Didn't you hear? You should have hair cover because the coronavirus is in the hair and the bunghole, too. You should have a bunghole diaper. But we should know. We should actually have, you know what? We should have a way to know that you're covering your bunghole with a bunghole filter. And so you should actually be forced, if you are out in public, to have a piece of toilet paper that comes out of the belt line and is approximately 6 inches long, and it's mandatory so that we know that you have a butt filter on. How does that sound? Kind of like, what it's like, what that's out of? Remember the scene in Smokey and the Bandit? Remember when he comes out of the bathroom and the waitress is following him all the way out to the parking lot, rolling up the roll of toilet paper that was stuck to his ass. Stuck to the, he pulled his pants up and he's pulling it right out of the bathroom. It goes right on out of the parking lot. Do you remember that? This is the level of stupid. I'm not even kind about this anymore because kindness didn't do you. It's like everything else we're seeing here. Well, they figure you're going to be reasonable with people. These are not reasonable people. These are idiots. I can't believe the level of idiocy and the stupidity that we've actually seen generated. And again, it's like, well, okay, if you're serious about this, here's what you need to get. I've even said that to two different people, and they look at it, what? Well, if you're serious about that, do you really believe that's doing all this is going on? Well, we should wear protection. Well, then you're not wearing the right protection. You need to have this, and this. Otherwise, you're wasting your time, my time, and I guess you're feeling good. You can feel good while you're committing suicide. If you really believe that all of this is at the level it's at, then all you're doing is committing, what was that line from Dancing Fools? Dancing Fool, there was a disco parody done by, do you remember who did that? Huh? Do you remember? Frank Zappa? Social suicide. Let me tell you, he's a dancing fool. Well, the social suicide thing is what you're seeing with all these panty waists who are telling you so desperately that you need to wear a face diaper. It's stupid. It really is sad and stupid, but it's sickening and stupid to me now because now they're starting to turn their bug eyes towards you and they think that, well, I look a little crazy right now anyway. You haven't seen me for a while, guys. I could wear leather and I'd blend right in with some of the gangs, okay, with some of the bike gangs. In fact, that's what usually if somebody looks at me or starts to turn away, and then they realize I'm looking straight into their eyes and looking at them, and I'm not blinking at all. You just go ahead and open your face, and you're going to get a whole can of worms, and you're not going to like my non-complimentary statements. And you can just see that they're like, and then they look at the pavement. Or you get the panty waists, and they're just plain terrified. That's what really disgusts me is these panty waists that are they look like they're absolutely terrified of every moment of their existence now. Where did these creatures come from, and why? And we cannot let that person, I don't even call a person, that animal, those are animals. These people are in animal-esque mode. They can't let them tell us what to do. Yeah, they're beasts. They really are. They're one step away. Again, somebody saying, well, we were expecting zombies. Yep, and we got several different breeds of them. We really do have more than one flavor of insane, stupid zombie, shoe-size IQ zombies in front of us, guys. Take your pick. You got the Antifa crazies that were produced by the public fool system. And here's what gets me. is the ones doing the coffee filter face diapers aren't any different in terms of the way that their brains work with regard to their lack of competence. And their schisms, whatever schism they've embraced, I mean, like I said, they're, at the very least, these are hypochondriacs. But they have dementia. They have a form of dementia. They are neurotic hypochondriacs with a paranoid tendency demanding of a police state. And it's like, well, and how are you fixing things? Well, they're not. In fact, none of them are happy. Here's the other thing. Do you want these boat anchors to drag you down? None of these people are happy. Be joyous. Be happy. Do really mess with their heads. Walk up and shake hands. We do this all the time. My friends, all the people I know, walk up, shake hands. In fact, a couple of the guys, initially, before all this started, I did it to them. I walk, hey, I put my hand out, and they actually smiled, and their shoulders got up, and they put their hand out in a heartbeat and shook my hand. Why? Because they're all tired of all these drama queens dragging us down. And it's the Jewish drama queen / neurotic thing, guys. What did I just describe? That's the classic Jewish neurotic. The neurotic hypochondriac with, again, the squeaky wheel. Oi, oi, oi. You've got a whole stinking population built like that right now.
I believe the Yiddish word is nebbish, Mark.
Oi, I'm telling you. And it's to the point, like I said, you just want to hit. You want to hit stupid, but again, in that respect, stupid puppies sometimes just are never going to be anything but stupid puppies. But that doesn't mean you let them drag the rest of the pack down. We can't let this. We can't let this go any farther, no matter what this is.
Remember,
no matter which part of
the Holocaust or not, Dad, isn't that the attitude that got most of their people killed?
Well, yeah, but that's the whole problem. They expected everybody. They always expect somebody else to step up and do their everything for them. That's the other thing. Why aren't you doing something for me? Well, because you won't get up off your dead ass and do it for yourself. How's that sound, boy? That's what I'm tired of. And again, guys, can-do attitude. Robert Heinlein wrote extensively about this. Back when I was in college, Robert Heinlein's works were number one. Okay, like in science fiction, Robert Heinlein. But here's the thing: if you were in any of the science fiction clubs or in any of the classes on writing, for instance, which I was, you'd be listening to these characters and, oh yeah, it's really great science fiction, but he's evil and bad because he's a man, and and they were doing the Nazi thing back then. He's a Nazi. He's like, no, he's a white heterosexual male, and he was asserting himself as a man. And because of his depictions of, again, in fact, the structures that he painted, the institutions that he described and everything, they didn't like it because he was pinning them right to the bulletin board. And everything that Heinlein wrote about as far as what would bring about collapse of society, what would be doing damage, and he spoke extensively. This is one of those things where it's just written in stone. And he was absolutely right. But then again, he would tell you that he's not inventing anything. He's just looking at, again, understanding and having a good command of history and sociology and the agenda being pushed, and that it was being pushed intentionally. Intentionally. And then again, who was doing it? The Jewish mob was doing it. Oi, oi, it would create confusion. How did we get Muslims into this country? We had Jews in this country first. How do we get the Muslims? The Jews brought the Muslims in. Who was in charge of immigration? What were their names? Who were the people associated? What globalist mechanisms? What did they do that for? To create conflict. Period. The rest is all BS. Oh, because they're refugees. My arse. And who's going to benefit? Well, let's see. The Jewish mob is running the Democrats, and the Jewish mob is running the Republicrats. You don't think so? Go look at the names. And by the way, look what's happening on the street. Up in Kenosha there, 3 random people got shot. What were they? All Jewish perverts. Isn't that amazing? Not only were they Jewish, but they were all Jewish perverts. Now, you go ahead, again, it's like, well, prove me wrong. Well, take a look. The one punk was busted for raping 5 preteens, 5 different kids. Okay, really? And he's got shot and he's dead. Am I going to shed a tear about that one? Should I? Oh yeah, because the chosen. Well, then the other one. You go right down the shopping list, and each one of them is the same kind of trash. But here's what's fascinating: they're also from the same group. In more ways than one. In fact, subcategories still in the same group. Subcategories still in the same group. Subcategories still in the same group. There's a thing you start mapping this stuff out, and it's like, again, this is the stuff I was trained to do. Although I got pretty well the reason I got trained to do it because I like doing this kind of, I use common sense. Do the math. A little history goes a long way. In this case, once you map things out, it's like, well, you can't argue it. You could try to beat around the bush. You can try to be politically correct. But if you're honest about it and you are looking purely at numbers and, the data stream, there's no way you can deny it. Then, again, that's where we are. Where do we go with this? We're at the point where, you guys want to walk up and put the shackles on your ankles and on your wrists for the enemy because, you just wouldn't want to inconvenience them? I'd say we're pretty well finished with this. As far as where this is going, it's got to go into conflict. We are at the top, by the way. We're going to have to go and get out of the way in a minute here. But for everybody, again, I want to say thank you for supporting Libertytreeradio. All kinds of glitching going on today across the board with the internet and the systems. That is not a surprise. Had a conversation today with a bunch of people on that who are technology people that are people I've known for years here, and they're all seeing the same thing all over the country. So I think that's the precursor to the October element of this. Guys, be ready because they are going to start trying to disconnect you so that you believe that you're isolated. This is why you have to have alternate communications up across the board. Marine radio, CB radio, FRS radio, 2-meter radio, anything you can put up, everything you can put up. You can light the sky up from a dozen different directions, and when one shuts down, you got the other to back it up. And not only that, but still remember, we are millions and millions. In fact, let me point something out, although, again, I totally disagree. Well, when they pushed America, the miniseries, the ending especially was muddled, but they did it because that appeased the Jewish mob running the thing in the first place. If you watch this miniseries, American Peril, pay attention. One of the things they pointed out, who would have thought that if you just isolated everybody because they couldn't talk to each other on the phone, that the country would fall apart? Guys, you should pay attention to that. Okay, think about it. In fact, let's point something out. You watch Jericho. Remember the little series Jericho? That came and went. One of the things that they did intentionally is ridicule things that would be common sense and that you would want more of instead of less of. Remember after the bombs dropped in Jericho, they went to that crazy guy who had the ham radio, remember? Why was he crazy? He's the only person who could hear anything that was going on, if there was anything to hear. But he was the crazy guy. All the rest of the smart people had nothing and were ill-prepared. The smart people were ill-prepared and, well, we can't do that. Well, look where we are because of that. Now, I say we're in a reverse situation right now. Guys, you can't find certain things because every mother's uncle is going after it. And food, in fact, people really are listening. Food is definitely being, hit by the population. The bad guys know it too. And because of that, it's changing the dynamic with regard to the math formula. A crisis it can only be effective if you get caught flat-footed. If everybody actually is in motion to one degree or another, then progressively the formula changes with regard to how the foot hits the ground. Anyway, we are at the top. We got a lot of work to do. For all of you out there, organize, arm, equip, and train as militia. Set up a 510 program in your area of operation. God bless the Republic.
Death to the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run.
And we're on the march both day and night.
Hoorah. Kick them the slats, beat them down hard, and when they try to get back up, you beat them back down again, and you don't let them get back up. Well, guys, thank you for your input. Appreciate it out there. Again, Ed taking over. We will be back in 1 hour. The evening intel report at 8 o'clock. God bless. Bye-bye.
Check your email, Mark.
Copy.
And we are the sons, yes,
This session is no longer being recorded.